What's up, everybody? Corey Van Castle Cook here, also known as the Bearded Cinephile and one half of Movie Chumps. And I just got out of Michael Mann's latest film, Ferrari, starring Shailene Woodley as Lena. Also, Adam Driver as Enzo Ferrari, and Penelope Cruz as Laura Ferrari. So I gotta start with some of the negatives at this point. Shailene Woodley is woefully miscast as Lena in this case, who is Enzo Ferrari's mistress. Also bore him a son, his only surviving son. Actually, it just seems like she was kind of an American trying to do an Italian accent, and it didn't really work that well. The strongest performance by far is Penelope Cruz as Laura. She's a very tortured, put-upon Italian wife who puts up with a lot of shit, but also is a partner to Enzo and kind of matches him strength for strength in terms of personalities more than anything else. Adam Driver is very, very good in this role. He's not great. This isn't like one of his best performances, but you really buy him as Enzo in terms of the way he carries himself, his serious nature, his very dry, witty humor, which it took a little bit for me to win me over, but once it did, every time he was kind of had that dry, sarcastic humor, it gave me a little chuckle. This is not one of Mann's best, top tier Man. This isn't along the lines of like a Heat or The Insider or Collateral or something like that. It's a solid film. It's enjoyable, and it's an interesting analysis on precision, detail, the pursuit of excellence, the cost of race car driving and the egos that come in it, the forsaking of everything else in your life that's possibly good to just pursue one determined goal. There's a lot in here about regret, because Enzo is somebody who couldn't save his son. His son died of a disease. And that really comes into play in some of the excellent exchanges that Adam Driver has in this case with Penelope Cruz. She recently got nominated for a SAG Award for this role, and I could definitely see it possibly getting an Oscar nomination as well. The editing is fantastic. There's some incredible there's that signature Michael Mann style that you're looking for in terms of shots and the way that people come into focus in the screen, and sometimes it's on the bottom 2/3 of the camera or whatever, and that there's this nice balance back and forth between focus and out of focus for stuff for people that are in the foreground and the background. So there's those classic Michael Mann flares that you love that are absolutely there. He obviously put a lot of thought and dedication and determination into this film. It's definitely a passion project, and he brings his signature style, and he does well. The racing scenes are absolutely awesome. They are intense. The last 35 minutes of this film are basically racing, and the Mille Le Mans, I believe, is what they call it, and cutting back and forth between, basically he's almost broke, Enzo Ferrari, and trying to see if he can get funding. He needs to win in order to get some funding for his, to save things and everything. So it's an interesting look. It's kind of plotting at times, especially this first third. It's a little bit of a slog to get through. And sometimes I almost wish everybody's speaking in Italian accents, and it's fine, but I almost wish in some ways that this would have been completely in Italian, and then they just did subtitles. I actually think that might have worked, because sometimes I couldn't 100% figure out what was going on, even though I was only like one of 3 people in the theater. It was hard to grasp onto those accents and things like that. But overall, it's a solid film. I enjoyed it. It's not one of those ones that I'm going to continue to revisit year after year after year, but the sound design, sound mixing is great. Direction's pretty solid. Good editing. I love the racing scenes. They were pretty solid. It's just sometimes it was a little slow, a little plotting. Things got a little lost in the sauce occasionally, but it's definitely worth your time. If I was going to give this a score, I'd probably give it, a 6.5, maybe a 7. But I really liked it. It's enjoyable. Not nearly on par with Godzilla -1, which I'm still thinking about from yesterday, but it's a good film. Anyway, that's it for me for now. I'm Corey Van Castle Cook, also known as the Bearded Cinephile, on one half of Movie Chumps, and I'll see everybody next time.